Paper 4, Part 4, Matching Statements. You will hear two people discussing facilities in the small town where they live. For questions 1 to 7, decide which views are expressed by either of the speakers and which are not. Write yes next to those views which are expressed and no next to those which are not expressed.
I think you hold fairly strong views about the way our town's changing, don't you?
I suppose so. What's really annoying me at the moment is the endless house building that's going on. Every time a factory or other small local business closes down, more new houses spring up on the site instead. But there's not the work in the town to support the present population, let alone an increasing one. Unemployment is actually rising amongst young people.
But people must want to live here, or there wouldn't be the demand for the houses.
Yes, but it's not local people who are buying them. It's people who move here and then catch the train into the city for work each day. Our town's fast becoming a commuter suburb. And that's where the problem of facilities begins. Because although the city's close enough for work, it's not so handy when it comes to using its leisure facilities. The journey takes too long and costs a fortune because of the train fares.
Well, what worries me is that most of the new houses they're building are intended for families. 3 and 4 bedroomed places, when there's already very little for teenagers to do here.
Well, that's not entirely true, is it? We have, after all, got a lovely new leisure centre which lots of towns don't have.
Oh, yes, and it's great. But the centre caters more for people our age. There's a gym, sauna, health treatments and so on. Well, then, yes, there are activities available for little kids, but for older teenagers, 15 upwards, there's not much for them, really.
Well, there is a bowling alley in the next town. They can go to that.
But how do you get there? Parents aren't always on hand to provide lifts, And the bus services to other towns round here aren't exactly the most frequent or reliable, are they?
Well, perhaps we should be thinking about improving the existing transport options rather than building leisure facilities for an expanding population.
I know you're worried that the town's getting too big, and you're right to be, but on the other hand, what is there for teenagers to do in the evenings? In my day, we used to have a disco here, as well as 2 cinemas. That kept us off the streets.
But it wouldn't make economic sense to build another cinema complex, surely, when there's a huge one only 10 kilometres away. You can see all the films you want there.
Evenings are a worry, though. The kids just hang around the streets because there's nothing else to do.
Well, there's always the pizza place. Enough of them seem to go there.
Yes, but how often can they afford that? As far as I can see, teenage social life just consists of chatting on their mobiles on street corners. I think the solution is to build a new shopping complex on the outskirts of town with a cinema, a bowling alley, a skate park, as well as more shopping. A nightclub would be ideal. Everyone would love it.
I'm sure they would. Everyone except the shopkeepers in the town centre, that is. Surely, the one thing that is adequate in this town is the shopping centre. Anyway, when large numbers of kids get together like this, you're just inviting trouble. Fighting, underage drinking, all that.
Well, actually, that sort of behaviour is much more likely if they're just hanging around getting bored.
But a shopping complex of this kind would change the nature of the town completely. I mean, people like living here precisely because it is a small town. They come here to avoid the social problems associated with the big cities.
On the other hand, we do have to move with the times, unless we wanted to become a retirement community for the elderly. It's just a question of how things are done.
Yes, but...
Now listen again.